Most men walk through life like they're auditioning for a role they never got. They spend their energy trying to prove they are worthy, trying to say the perfect line, or trying to buy interest with compliments that feel like transactions. They think attraction is a puzzle to be solved with logic, but they're playing the wrong game. You felt it. The stinging silence after a joke that didn't land, the polite smile that tells you she's already looking for the exit, the heavy weight of being the nice guy who is easily forgotten. It's exhausting, it's draining, and according to the ancient Stoics, it's entirely unnecessary. Attraction isn't about what you do to her, it's about who you are in her presence. It's about that internal stillness that makes a woman feel like she's finally met a man who doesn't need her to feel complete. When you stop chasing, the world starts following. Before we dive into the deep psychological triggers that turn curiosity into raw desire, make sure you're part of this brotherhood. Subscribe to the channel right now. We are building a tribe of men who value self-mastery over games, and your presence here matters. The first forbidden phrase isn't forbidden because it's offensive, but because it breaks the power dynamic most men accidentally trap themselves in. Most guys are validation seekers. They tell a woman she's beautiful, they tell her she's smart, and they wait for a thank you to feel good about themselves. But a man of high value, a stoic man, doesn't seek validation, he evaluates. The phrase is, I didn't expect that from you. When you say this, you're not insulting her. You're signaling that you have an internal standard. You are observing her, not just worshipping her. It creates a sudden, sharp curiosity in her mind. She thinks, what did he expect? Am I meeting his standards? In an instant, the roles are reversed. You are no longer the applicant begging for a job. You are the CEO conducting the interview. This hits the 18-year-old and the 60-year-old the same way because desire is rooted in the respect for a man who cannot be easily figured out or bought with a smile. It forces her to lean in, to prove herself, and to wonder why your opinion matters so much more than the other 100 guys in her DMs. To understand why this works, we have to look at the Stoic concept of prohairesis, the power of your own will. Epictetus taught that your power lies in your ability to choose how you perceive and react to the world. When you use phrases that suggest you are evaluating the world rather than reacting to it, you display a level of self-command that is incredibly rare. The second phrase that triggers this deep-seated desire is, you have an interesting way of seeing the world, but I'm not sure I agree yet. This is a masterstroke of emotional tension. By acknowledging her perspective but withholding your full agreement, you create a mental itch she has to scratch. Most men agree with everything an attractive woman says because they are afraid of conflict. They are terrified that a disagreement will end the interaction. But the Stoic man knows that his peace is not dependent on her approval. By being willing to disagree calmly, you show that your reality is stronger than hers. Women are naturally drawn to a man whose world is stable enough to hold its own weight. It creates a sense of safety. If you can stand your ground against her beauty or her opinions, she knows you can stand your ground against the world. That is the essence of masculine protection. The third phrase moves the interaction from the surface level into the realm of identity. Most conversations are boring because they are safe. Men talk about jobs, weather, and hobbies because they are afraid to be seen. But desire is an emotional response, not a logical one. You have to speak to her mind, not just her ears. The phrase is, I get the sense that there's a lot more to you than people usually notice. This is a cold reading technique wrapped in Stoic observation. It tells her that you are looking beneath the mask. It makes her feel seen. Marcus Aurelius wrote about looking at things for what they truly are, stripping away the legend and the fluff. When you apply this to a woman, you bypass her defenses. You're not complimenting her hair, you're acknowledging her soul. Every woman, regardless of her age, feels a deep, private loneliness, the feeling that no one truly understands the real her. When you signal that you see that hidden part, her walls don't just crack, they dissolve. She begins to associate you with a unique sense of being understood, and that is a drug she will never want to stop taking. Now, we must talk about the most powerful tool in the Stoic arsenal, outcome independence. This leads us to the fourth phrase, which is often the hardest for men to say because it requires genuine self-respect. It is, I've enjoyed this, but I have to get back to my life now. Read that again. You are ending the interaction while it's still good. You are showing that your time and your mission are more important than the temporary pleasure of her company. Most men will stay until the conversation dies, until they become a nuisance, or until she makes an excuse to leave. They are thirsty, but the Stoic man is a man of purpose. Seneca said that life is long if you know how to use it. By leaving first, you leave her with the echo of your presence. You create a void. In that void, her imagination takes over. She begins to replay the conversation. She wonders where you went, what you're doing, and when she'll see you again. You aren't just a man she met, you are a mystery she hasn't solved. You've removed the pressure of the pursuit and replaced it with the tension of your absence. That is where desire matures into obsession. The fifth and final phrase is perhaps the most forbidden because it requires you to be completely comfortable with silence. It is, "We don't have to talk right now, just be here." This phrase stops the performance. It removes the frantic need to fill every second with noise. It displays a level of confidence that 99% of men will never possess. It says, "I am so comfortable in my own skin and so secure in your presence that we don't need words to validate this connection." This creates a heavy, almost magnetic sexual polarity. It forces her to feel the energy between you without the distraction of small talk. It is a deeply intimate moment that proves you are a man of depth. It shows you have mastered your own anxiety. When you can sit in silence with a woman without looking for her approval, you have officially reversed the power dynamic. You are the mountain and she is the one seeking shade. None of these phrases are magic spells. If you say them with a shaky voice or eyes that are begging for a reaction, they will fail. They only work when they are backed by the stoic mindset, the belief that you are already enough. You don't need her to say yes, you don't need her to like you, and you don't need her to stay. You are a man of virtue and mission, and she is an invited guest into your world, not the center of it. When you shift your internal state to one of calm masculinity, these phrases become natural. They become your truth. And a man speaking his truth with zero attachment to the outcome is the most irresistible force on this planet. You have the tools now. Don't just listen to this, embody it. Go out there and be the man who evaluates, the man who observes, and the man who leads. The world is waiting for a man who doesn't need its permission to be great. Be that man. Stay stoic. At the end of the day, you have to realize that these 5 phrases are not a get-out-of-jail-free card for a lack of character. They are the outward expression of a man who has already done the heavy lifting of building a life worth living. Stoicism isn't about being a cold, unfeeling robot. It's about having such a deep well of internal peace that no external force, not even the most beautiful woman in the room, can disturb your surface. Most men will watch this and try to use these words as a shortcut, but they'll fail because they're still thirsty underneath. They are still checking their phones every 5 minutes, still praying for a reply, still living for her validation. Don't be that guy. Be the man who knows his worth is non-negotiable. Be the man who has an empire to build and a mission to complete. When you embody this level of self-mastery, you become a rare breed in a world full of desperate boys. You become the man women don't just notice, but deeply respect and desire. This is the path of the high-value man. If you're ready to stop chasing and start leading, if you're ready to become the most dangerous version of yourself, the man who is completely in control of his emotions, then your journey is just beginning. Make sure you've joined this brotherhood by subscribing. We don't just talk about change, we manifest it. Go out there, hold your ground, and remember, the only person you ever need to impress is the man you see in the mirror. Stay disciplined, stay focused, stay stoic.